Good day to the audience. Thank you for tuning in. It's a real privilege to be taking part in this conference. And over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I will share with you my personal experience in creating and rationale for having an open innovation platform, to assist space tech startups. I'm Lynette Tan. I'm from the Singapore Space and Technology Limited. We are a Southeast Asia's leading non-government space organization headquartered in Singapore. Just two slides about what we do. We create platforms and programs to promote the adoption of space-related technologies and foster partnerships between various stakeholders. For example, in what I'm going to be talking about, it would be collaboration and partnerships between the government and startups, with SSTL in the middle to help in the partnership fostering and execution of the program. Well, we don't just do startups and accelerator programs. Broadly speaking, we work with government and companies and other organizations, including the World Bank, to build industries, enable technologies to grow and be adopted. We also grow talent pipeline. Some of the partners we have worked with, besides World Bank and the Singapore government, includes rocket company, Arianespace, aerospace company, Airbus, and many other space tech companies. This is a summary slide. On the left, you will see the 4 key pillars of our activities and program. In Singapore, we still serve as the business federation for the space industry. We provide training, education, and outreach. On the second bullet point, we broker partnerships, as what I've explained earlier. And the third point, we also have an initiative to strongly promote venture building. That is creation of companies and creation of business units to add value into the space tech and business ecosystem. We also have a range of activities for education and outreach for young children and for professionals, even up to 50 to 60 years old. On the right-hand side, you will see the list of programs we run to support our 4 main pillars of activities. One of the flagship events that SSTL runs is the Global Space and Technology Convention. It has been Asia's premier space and tech event since 2008. So around 800, pre-COVID times to 900 people globally would attend. There would be business meetings, government meetings, as well as startup industries. You can see in the lower bullet point here that there is a range of topics that could be interesting, not to traditional space players. So, feel free to check it out. We have 3D printing, communications, Earth observations, and analytics. So essentially what I do in my job in a nutshell is to unleash the potential of an industry that will be worth over 1 trillion in 2040. Space is actually a lot about Earth. This is an industry that's valued at over 400 billion US dollars and forecasted to grow anything from 1 trillion, which is a conservative estimate, to 3 trillion in 2040. Besides being used within the space industry, it is also developed into many other industries. Essentially, the space industry, space technologies, is used to benefit people, businesses, governments, economies on Earth. It's not just about rockets and astronauts, which grabs a lot of media attention. It's a lot more than that. More than 50%, possibly up to 70% of the industry comprise of actually commercial business activities. It is not an esoteric field, fascinating as it may sound or seem. It involves computing, materials engineering, user interface, 3D printing, and machine learning, mechanical engineering, thermodynamics, propulsion technologies. Really, it's not that out of this world. The space in itself is an industry with a very good growth potential, already very sizable, also has tremendous industry return on investment, which is why many governments are interested in the space sector. It pushes the innovation and research frontier. Many spin-offs that we use include, LASIK for eye correction, solar panels to combat climate change. There are spin-offs from space tech. There's a lot of growing interest in this sector. It could be due to the excitement driven by Elon Musk and SpaceX, which is a very exciting story. But actually, the important piece the important element of what SpaceX has proven is that private sector can contribute to an industry that has traditionally and largely been in the domain of the government sector. Therefore, you can see in the last few years, there have been growing interest in space tech startups and investments. I'll go on to talk about our innovation platforms. Essentially, we run a large range of space accelerator programs based out of Singapore, believing in these fundamentals, obviously helping the startups get access to funds. It's not that straightforward because you would see from the earlier slide that it was only recently that space tech investments in Asia started picking up. There might be dry powder, there might be money, but not many VCs or PE are familiar or comfortable to invest in the space tech industry, which also traditionally has a relatively larger ticket size. We provide access to industry technologists to be able to help the deep tech startups within space tech to focus on the capable technology development. And of course, we help the startups expand in Singapore and in Asia Pacific. We don't require a sweat equity, we don't require an onboarding fee, and we don't require the startups to take part in boot camps or paid for some training in marketing. It's really an open platform. Why do we do that? It's because the space sector is very broad and yet very niche. Many startups require different help. They have different maturity level. The founders have different backgrounds. I know startups, founders who are from private banking, investment banking, and then suddenly, or well, maybe not suddenly, but eventually going into rocket science. These founders definitely don't need a lesson on the financial statements, but they might need different types of, assistance. And because of the long gestation period of space tech startups, it's important to have flexibility and modular sub-programs. And also, important to emphasize that being part of the Accelerator program also frees them up to collaborate with other partners that are also essential. So we don't lock them in. We don't have a cookie cutter approach, and we cannot have one if we want to be successful based on our extensive study of the space tech industry and the startups in this ecosystem in this part of the world. The process is very straightforward. If you feel that you can benefit from our program, sign up. We try to understand how we can help you, and we want to make sure that we only onboard companies who can benefit from the program. And then there's selection, agreement, we do a diagnostics and interview of your requirements, send out a regulation, and take part, which involves a program that's 12, 18, 24 months of very intensive mentoring, close interactions with our advisors, and taking part in a variety of programs that we will curate for you. What kind of companies join? Again, it being an open innovation platform, we are not going to narrow down on any particular startups that wants to join. Although I think there might be more resonance and ability to help startups in the segments that are in the orange font, hardware manufacturing, given that Singapore is still a very strong high-value manufacturing hub, software development, given our expertise in ICT, satellite communications, smart technologies, navigation and location-based services, and Earth observation. Other startups that we look at in our onboarding include startups looking into the Internet of Things, supercomputing, data services, biotech, and telemedicine. We see tremendous commercial value in these applications. And as you can see, none of them have a mission yet to colonize Mars. So space is really a lot about its application for Earth. What is the advantage of our platform, given that we've made it so easy and open for people, for startups to join? Well, SSTL has a very strong space industry expertise, given the people that we have and the network that we have, which also means we have very strong global partners which can help our startups scale. Interconnections, because in the space tech industry, we don't look at very localized markets. We look at a lot of scalability and ability to provide services and value to the global community. We offer mentorship experience with people with 5, 10, 15, 20 years of relevant experience to the startups. Really, we want to help them from ideation to growth. One of the flagship activity that will take place during the program would be in the 2021 startup pitching sessions, and we've compiled some photos to show you, what might go on in that scene. It is a new normal. I'm going to have very different photos to show you next year. But definitely this is a startup pitching platform where anyone interested in the Asian space story would be attending and would have an opportunity to listen to our startups. One of our strategic partners in the program is CapVista. We've carved out a particular project within the space-based accelerator program. The carved out program is called Project Cyclotron. It's in partnership with the investment arm of the Singapore government, CapVista. CapVista is under the Defence Science and Technology Agency, which houses 3,000 over technology engineers. We want to leverage on mutual expertise to ensure that space tech startups in the deep tech sector, in the early stage, has received a lot of help and guidance from us to maximize their chances of success. In the particular field that they've chosen, it is very, very challenging, but very, very exciting. To share a success story, Transcelestial is also a CapVista company, or rather a company invested by CapVista, develops laser communication solutions. It is also based in Singapore, building wireless laser communication technology to drive connectivity and deliver high-speed internet globally to over 4 billion people who do not have access to internet currently, bridging the digital divide. It's invested in by venture funds from Singapore, Australia, and the United States. It is currently working with major telecom players, including SK Telecom. And that's why I picked this example to share with our Korean friends. Another story, ChipSafer, which originated from Uruguay. It is an IoT-based management platform to track and detect anomalies in cattle behavior. What they do is to gather the data from the sensors into actionable information and provide it to the farmer. It is in the cattle industry, and it is leveraging on space tech to serve a need here on Earth. Now, we do get this question really often. How does SSTL benefit from it? Since we're not taking equity, we can join anytime. What are the advantages that SSTL, gets from organizing this program? Well, first of all, it is a collaboration with the government and private limited investment arm. And we benefit because SSTL runs a range of programs from networking events to marketing platforms to technical training programs and professional education. We find that when we run such an accelerator program, it costs us very little to create a powerful program. And in return, we benefit from the growth of these companies because then they take part in some of our events and programs because now they require our services. In a way, you can see it's very similar to in-house venture labs from MNCs. And therefore, we are able to derive value from it and without compromising and in fact putting the best program forward in an open platform for space tech startups who want to grow in Asia Pacific. I would be really happy to chat with anyone, investors, who might be keen to find out more, come on board as a mentor, startups who want to join our program or just get an advice, or government or organizations who are keen to work with SSTL to develop customized programs to nurture the startups or the venture arm. We're keen to replicate this, and I'm also happy to have a conversation with anyone with some crazy wild ideas. Thank you for your time, and it was really nice to talk to all of you. I wish I could meet you, but maybe in the next few months when the situation improves, or you never know. Let's stay in touch. Thank you.